And we're back. Game number 2 of our second best of 3 of the evening. DK taking on LGD Gaming International. First game, really a lopsided affair, as DK just kind of dealt with all of the tricks LGD had up their sleeve. And even though they did manage to slow down Burning's farm significantly, they weren't able to do it quite to the caliber they wanted to be able to do it. And DK just kind of rode out the storm, and after a while took over in the mid-game and prompted a sub-30-minute GG. Only about 27 minutes all the time it took for them to close that game out. LGD going to be looking to knot things back up and show us a Game 3. DK, though, again, riding into this series, having won all of their last 6 series over the last 2 months, looking to extend that streak to 7. I'm AC, joined by Merlini, who's lending us his brain and his knowledge for the analysis of all of the games here, not just tonight, but for all of the D2L series in the foreseeable future. And we can already see it's going to be a fun game, man. Any game that starts out with an Ursa in the front 4 picks, that's going to be a fun game.
Fun game indeed. I love seeing Ursa Warrior. Is he just called Ursa in this? Anyways, he's awesome. I'm just going to throw that out there. Ursa is very good versus Lifestealer, too. Even though there's not a Wisp on your team, I think he still does fairly decently. I don't think they should do try on try, though, just because Ursa's really weak early. I think if they both have equal farm, Ursa can beat out Lifestealer. The Fury Swipes is just incredibly good at just bursting him down during Rage, and consider that with a Naga Siren with her and Saren. Those are only the first 2 picks out of LGD. I think Lifestealer is not going to have an easy time. Unfortunately, LGD is not on Dire side, so they won't be able to sneak in an early Roshan, but maybe with creative use of smokes they can.
Absolutely, and that's always one of those early game conundrums if you're Ursa. I mean, if you get into the pit as quick as you can, the other team knows that timing, usually between 7 and 9 minutes, depending on how good of a game you've had. And usually not that tough to know whenever the Ursa is going to be gone. So if you try to rush in, you can oftentimes be caught out. But so many opportunities usually come up after that when the timing gets thrown off a little bit. Of course, getting in there quickly to get the 2 levels you get from a very early Roshan, and of course the extra gold. Certainly tough to pass up, but I really like the Naga Siren going with the Ursa Warrior. It's so nice to have Ensnare to lock down a target like Lifestealer, even though he has magic immunity built in with Rage. Naga Siren's Ensnare does go through magic immunity, will allow Ursa to close the gap. And now with the Venomancer pickup, this is exactly what I was going to say I hope they would do. Add heroes around this Ursa that are going to slow down targets and allow him to do what he does best, which is, of course, chew faces.
That is pretty cool. I'm actually surprised they banned out Wisp for themselves. I think they could have used it. I guess DK used it pretty effectively last game, so they can't just leave it in the pool. But Venomancer, another hero that can actually slow down Lifestealer during his rage. If you get the poison venomous scale off before he rages, he's still slowed after he rages, and Poison Sting does go through it. So that is pretty cool. I hope that they can shut down this Lifestealer, though.
Yep, Lifestealer going to have Visage and Rubik backing him up, 2 of the more well-rounded supports in the whole pool. Visage, of course, gives you an extra little bit of stun, a tad of bit of global presence if you want to send the familiars to help out elsewhere. But, of course, gives you a nice amount of push as well. Visage at level 6, especially if he goes the Medallion build, can contribute in his own right. Going to be able to reduce the armor for targets of the Lifestealer might want to engage upon, most notably, of course, that Ursa. But yeah, I mean, when you see what LGD is going to be trying to do with that Ursa, picking up the Naga Siren, picking up the Veno, we'll see what else they want to tack on to go with it. One would think this is the tri-lane we're looking at right now, so they're going to need a mid and an off lane. This could be a game where we see that Ursa try to grab himself up a very quick Blink Dagger, or with the help he already has with these 2 supports, maybe he'll go with a straight BKB build after getting up a set of phase boots and just try to get ahead of the Lifestealer early on whenever the LS has more trouble engaging him, and just hope to not have to look back. DK, though, picks up their mid as well. That'll be a puck.
One thing I like about LGD is that they just completely switch strategies after what happened last game. They don't go for an early Chen pick. They're not going for the early Troll Warlord pick, and they just completely shift because they know what happened last game was just not good. So they're good at resetting, and they're just good at starting new, and that's exactly what you need to do in a best-of-3 series if you want to win, especially versus a team like DK. You can't just keep throwing yourself against the same old wall and just lose again. They're going with something completely different, hoping to shut down Lifestealer. They weren't able to shut down Burning or Mushi for that matter last game, and maybe with this sort of targeted draft they can.
Yeah, I mean, from now, basically barring any kind of catastrophe, from now until TI4, one would imagine DK is going to be the team to beat, the team that everyone assumes is going to be the favorite coming into every event. And, you know, of course, with Alliance out there and Na'Vi, there will always be debate, but no better team to test yourself against, especially for a young team like LGD International. These players have not been together all that long as of yet. Still looking to find their style, find their footing, find that cohesion that can turn a team of talented players, which is what we see with, again, very, very well-known names, Misery, Pycat, Brax, Black, and Freedom, to turn them into that cohesive unit they want to be. And being tested like this early on here in the HyperX D2L is going to work to their benefit, though, if we're to be honest. I mean, if DK is able to just... DK had an answer for everything that LGD wanted to throw at them in Game 1. So mixing things up, throwing the Ursa in there, I agree with you. Really the right call. That's going to be one of the only ways they can really hope to knot this series back up. Otherwise, DK's just going to be able to grind them out.
One thing about DK is they kind of remind me of IG, and similar how it's just like powerhouses from a lot of different teams coming together as one. But I hope they don't fall prey to the same sort of curse that IG has fallen to, which is they won a TI, and then after that they just haven't been looking as strong. They have some roster issues. That happens sometimes when you have players of different nationalities. Compare that to Na'Vi and Alliance. Alliance, almost all Swedes, and Na'Vi, most all Eastern Europeans. And with DK, they have a little bit of players. They have players from everywhere. And having played on international teams myself, it's the chemistry and teamwork is a little bit less, and people just seem to disband a little bit earlier than other teams. So I hope that this team sticks around, because I definitely think they have the potential to make it very, very far in TI4 if they last another 10 months.
Really love that Tinker pickup from LGD. Tinker, of course, a hero. His mobility and his ability to split push while LGD looks to make things happen with the front three they have, the Veno, the Naga, the Ursa, so on and so forth. That's certainly going to be there. I really love the fact that his laser is going to guarantee, or at least make Lifestealer's chance to go one-on-one with an Ursa, depending on if he can land the laser for that miss percentage. Makes it very difficult for Lifestealer to face up to Ursa reliably. And it's a pretty tall order to fill even in the best of situations. But again, this is kind of what I had mentioned before, is LGD is just putting pieces into place to allow that Ursa pick to shine as brightly as it possibly can. And really, I mean, it's one of those things, I can't remember who said it. It was a pro player way back when I first started casting, way back even before D2L Season 1, that just made the comment, and it remains so true. Ursa is only as good as the supporting cast you put around him that allows him to do what he's supposed to do. And LGD, with their draft so far, I think is really doing a great job of building that kind of a team and that kind of a composition to help the Ursa do as well as they can. DK will go ahead and round out their front five with the Prophet, though. That's going to be their own global presence hero to match up with the Tinker.
And Lifestealer is going to have the most difficult time, and it's not really anything that he can do to try. I mean, you can like have some cute infest dodges against Ensnare and other spells, but for the most part, he's just going to be there to soak up a lot of the attention and spells from LGD, and he isn't going to be able to do that much damage themselves. They have March, they have Venomancer, Ursa, Nagasar, all these heroes that can just deal with a Lifestealer. So I expect other heroes to control the fight. It's really up to the Puck and the Rubik, I think, to set things up for him and make sure that he doesn't get burst down. And another hero that is anti-Lifestealer. Incredible.
Oh, yeah, not just another hero that's anti-Lifestealer with the Roar going through Magic Immunity to lock him down, but with his aura, that's going to help out the Ursa as well. It's going to help him in every situation, be it doing Roshan, be it just the auto attacks in between, Overpower and Fury swipes whenever he engages on the Lifestealer. When I look at DK's lineup, the hero that's going to make or break this lineup is going to be that Nature's Prophet. Is he going to be able to get fat, get farmed, and start contributing DPS early enough to slow down this Ursa? If not, they could be in some trouble because, again, LGD has just put together an Ursa all-star team, for lack of a better way to put it. Everyone helps that bear do what bears do, which is make people very afraid.
I want to see an early Roshan. Maybe they can do it with Inner Beast and Plague Wards. Unfortunately, Tinker and Nagasar are not very good for it, but it would still be a really cool thing to see.
Absolutely. So loading in to Game 2 now. Once again, if you're just tuning in, this is Game 2 of our second best of 3 of the day. LGD International taking on DK. If you missed our first match, we saw LGD International's sister team, LGD China, get past Vici Gaming. Don't forget, Vici will be back in action, taking on LGD International in our third series of the day. And for those who are wondering why we're tripling up here on inaugural day, maybe you missed the announcement, so on and so forth, we did have a request from Ace's biggest sponsor that we adapt our schedule. Not going to get into that. You can read about that in a variety of places if you're really that interested. But this is kind of going to be how things are going to be here in the Eastern Division. 1-2 nights a week, well, 2 or 3 nights a week some days. We're going to be having triple headers, and it'll be myself and Merlini bringing you all the action. And the in-game ticket is available as well. If you're watching on Twitch, but you prefer to watch in-game, make sure you pop on in, grab that, $9.99. We will have bundled items released in the next couple of weeks. None as of yet because we did rush the ticket out to meet demand to watch these initial matches in client. But will be some good goodies that if you buy your ticket now, they will be added to your account after they're added to the game. So enough of the promotional stuff. LGD taking shape down here in the bottom lane. DK does move through and drop down a couple of wards. Does look like we're going to have an O-try here.
And they've done a little bit of role reversal too. Last game I talked about how predictable DK's laning was, but not with burning on Nature's Prophet and Ice on the Lifestealer. That is something that I rarely see. I don't think I've ever seen a burning Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, I've been casting burning for quite some time, going back to Monthly Madness Asia. And yeah, I have never seen this to my recollection. And, you know, this is nice, though. This is the kind of thing where, you know, coming into this, DK has to feel very comfortable. And let's be honest, this isn't a slight to LGD International. So much talent on that team, but it's no secret. They're still trying to kind of find their identity, find the way they work together. And with a one-game lead, DK's going to change things up. They're going to go ahead and throw a curveball of their own to answer this Ursa All-Star squad that LGD has decided to throw out. So as the game starts, we'll run through the lineups as quickly as possible. We're going to have Venomancer handled by Misery here in the defensive tri-lane. Pycap setting up shop here on the Beastmaster here in mid, going up against that puck. We're going to have Freedom playing on our support Naga Siren. Tinker going to be handled by Brax in the off lane. He'll be going one-on-one, of course, against Burning on the Nature's Prophet. And the Ursa Warrior himself going to be farmed up by Black on the other side of the river. We got Mushi going one-on-one with Pycat. He'll be playing our Shakespearean hero. That'll be Puck. We're going to have Lanham playing in the support position in this offensive tri-lane. He'll be on the Rubik. The Lifestealer, as mentioned, one of the surprises we've seen so far, that's Ice, though he is backing off immediately. He's heading elsewhere, at least for the moment. Looks like he wants to head into the jungle. Burning going one-on-one with Brax on the Tinker. Burning surprising us all on that Nature's Prophet, but what better hero, really, for the original mass farmer, mass agriculture guy from across the world. And MMY, he'll be playing on our Visage. Had a great game in Game 1.
And it looks like there already some dewarding action going on by Freedom on bottom. He plays Sentry over here. They managed to chop down the tree and kill this ward, but surprisingly, they have 2 wards. And I guess it'll block the 2-minute spot. I'm not exactly sure if it's worth it to use 2 wards to block 2 different spawns. But, I mean, if it gets unscouted by Freedom, they might be like, well, we already killed the ward. What happened to the other one?
Burning is now had Ice hook up with him. It looks like they're just going to trade in and out. Burning heading elsewhere for the moment. He is level 2. And yeah, making the adaptation, MMY.
Oh, they're not going to kill it by 2? How unfortunate.
And Burning and Pycat trading pain a little bit. Burning does go ahead and take the rune and go ahead and pop it as well, just denying it to the Beastmaster mid. Mushi sitting at 11 CS to the 5 of his opponent. So getting the best of this matchup. No real surprise there, though.
And a little bit of rotation coming out. I guess they think that Lifestealer can't stay on bottom lane, which he most certainly cannot. So I think that's smart for them to move ISS to top lane, rotate Burning to the jungle, and already we see a lot of adaptability on the side of DK. They're very flexible, just change their lanes immediately as soon as they see what their opponents are up to.
Burning, grabbing himself a quick Bassie. And we'll see if he is going to go straight up Midas after that. In the meantime, Freedom and Black doing their thing here in this bottom lane. Black certainly off to the start he wants. We're just short of 3 minutes in, and he's sitting at 17 CS. He's likely to get a couple here. Burning thought about coming in, thought better of it. In the meantime, Misery poking his nose around behind. Will land the Gale on Lanham, but Burning once again showing that he can TP. Just saying, you know, I could if I wanted to. I'm not gonna. Just saying I could. But nice, well-shot Gale from Misery. Not enough, as no one really in position to dive back that far.
Pycat in a lot of trouble in middle. He's already harassed, already forced to use a couple bottle charges, and Mushi dodging most of these axes, but unfortunately he gets hit on the return route, and DK already pinging out the Ancients right now because they do have an Ursa who's okay at Ancients, Wild Axes, Plague Wards, and Martian Machines, all very good at taking out stacks, so DK has to be very vigilant in taking that down. Brax is actually doing this camp, and he has 2 Satyr spawns. That is so unlucky as a Tinker. I've done Jungle Tinker before, and I've done this sort of Jungle Tinker, which is the big camp and not the Ancients, and Satyrs just ruin your life.
We can see a little bit of bad luck, as you mentioned, for the Tink. He's going to be a little slow up the ladder in terms of golden experience. Pycat continues to be abused here by Mushi. Up atop, Ice finding himself on some Fiend CS as he continues to play a little bit of catch up. Did have to spend some time walking across the map and not really able to do much in that offensive tri-lane attempt. But for right now, it's really going to be on LGD.int. I mean, we already see Got the poor man shield up. We're going to see a haste rune grabbed up by Mushi. Misery was right there with him. But, oh, he did land the Gale. Unfortunately, just unable to do anything with it. DK, though, going to go ahead and take the tier 1 top.
And we see Misery coming around, but what is he going to do? He has no Plague Wars. He has no mana for a Venomous Gale right now, and they have 3 heroes up there with Force of Nature, with a Ring of Basilius. I don't see them defending this, Glyph or not.
Tower, not going to be Glyph. They are just going to let it drop. Gold will be split evenly.
Top tower has fallen.
And as of right now, I mean, you got to give DK credit. You have to love whenever a team, be they experienced or not, be they new or not, no matter what, whenever they're just able to adapt their game plan and find that little weakness, which we're continuing to see it. They've just recognized the position that LGD has put themselves in does not really allow them to come to fights this early. There was a Gale attempt by Misery. He came up way short, though. They still have, no, actually, they don't have that Glyph. So Glyph's already been expended. And yeah, they're going to have to come, basically come as an entire 5-man group or not come at all.
And, well, Misery gets open wounded, but Ice thinks better of it and backs off. And it looks like there's going to be another tower down. Misery has gotten 1 level of Plague Wars to try and defend this push. This tower is going to get denied, though, it looks like.
110 HP in deny range. And, yep, 53. They will be able to deny it. Losing the off-lane tower is not the biggest deal in terms of map control, but still, decent amount of gold grabbed up very, very quickly. And, you know, how many times have we seen it, Ben, when, you know, a team can be made or broken, not just by their carries, but by how many little items the supporting staff can put together very, very early on. And that extra little surge of gold, even from one of those towers being denied, just allows them to feel so much more useful at this stage of the game. As we're still well short of 7 minutes in.
Yeah, Magic Stick can definitely determine whether or not support survives in a fight, and then if Rubik ever gets a Blink or Visage gets a Medallion, those are game-changing items.
Poor Lanham. Lanham just wandered into the wrong area. Mushi threw off the coil. He got caught with a Gale. They're going to pursue him out. They don't have axes anymore. Not going to need him. Phase shifts out, but doesn't really matter. That's just a bad piece of luck. Actually, check that. Should call it what it is. It's a really good decision out of LGD that just happened right before that poor Rubik wandered through as they dropped that sentry down literally as he was passing through the lane. And they get not just first blood, but 1 more to go with it. Make it 2-0.
Yeah, very smart move by them. I think that DK should have had an Observer Ward up in the middle lane, just because they're not really sure where their opponents are. They could be stacking Ancients, they could be just doing the small camp, they could just be pulling on bottom. They have no idea where their supports are, and if they had the ward up the hill, they would have been able to spot the sentries. Perhaps Lana wouldn't have wandered right into the trap, and they need vision for Mushi. Mushi is still very vulnerable to dying. Even being a puck, if he gets roared, he can still die to burst, whether it comes from the Riptide from Naga Siren or just laser rocket from the Tinker. He can still die. So they have to protect Mushi a little bit better. I didn't think it was a good idea for him to go in after the guy got roared. He got caught in the Gale and just he used his orb trying to burst down one of the heroes, but unable to make it happen.
Visage not far from level 6. Once he gets up his familiars, I suspect we're going to see DK want to get out and fight a little bit more often. Just about 1,200 gold set aside by Ice. We'll see what build he wants to go, if he wants to grab himself an armlet or maybe go something a bit more orthodox of drums and then S&Y, that kind of a build, the race car build, if you enjoy that kind of terminology. But with him, yeah, we just heard I'm pretty sure we just heard it, yeah. Visage already summoning his familiars, so he's going to be able to contribute those to a fight, and we'll see just how quickly DK wants to try and fight here. I mean, it's tough to call. They don't want to let Black just farm for free forever. There will come a point where he will just get out of control. And taking a look at the early net worth, we can see he already has a higher net worth than a Puck, who is dominant in mid. So, you know, at this, I'll put it to you. Which team do you think is really under more pressure to try and break this laning phase down?
I think that LGD is under a lot of pressure because they've lost 2 towers already. They're trying to get a tower of their own, but Lonham is just getting so much accomplished in this bottom lane. He's triple stacked, quad stacked these Ancients. He's level 3, and sure, he gave the first blood in middle, but he hasn't let his tower fall in this 9 minutes in, and it's just a solo Rubik in the off lane. Solo Rubik.
And you can see just how safe Ice feels. He farmed just about to the tier 3 there, just feeling totally fine. And knowing that LGD really not in a position to just move a whole lot. We do see the Burning has completed its minus coming out in 9 minutes. It will be the drums build coming out of our Lifestealer as well. So with that up, he can really begin to go to fights anytime he wants. But I do agree with you. I mean, whenever you really think about it, you don't pick an Ursa to farm for the late game. You pick an Ursa because you want him to go crazy and do what Ursas do. It's just a question of when's that going to happen.
Crazy bear mode. It needs to happen soon, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Mushi has 2,100 gold too. There's his blink if he wants to buy that.
Taking a look at Brax. Haven't talked a whole lot about him. He did hit level 6 and went ahead and skilled rearm at level 6 as well. Ice falling back into the jungle. And MMY, there's the blink, as you mentioned. Picked up on the puck. MMY looks like he probably will be going for some sort of a medallion build. He's almost level 7 already. 2 blinks out, actually. This time, though, Pycat getting his out just as quickly.
Oh, he actually went for a blink on. That's very surprising. I don't see this build very often. It's a very old school build. Most of the recent players I've seen have gone for a scepter build. I also really like the aura build, which is like the drums into Vlad's or Necrobook. I'm personally not a big fan of the Arcane Mech. I think that Beastmaster has a lot more to offer, and other heroes can get the Arcane Mech. But Blink Dagger is pretty good if you can keep up the aggression. But it's 10 minutes in. There's only 2 kills in the game. Will the Blink pay off? Because he's certainly not using it to escape.
Yeah, you see that picked up. I think LGD knows they're really on a timer here. This comes down to what we were talking about with that Ursa. You don't pick him to farm late. You pick him to go crazy and win you a game in about 30 minutes. And the Blink Dagger on the Beastmaster just confirms that. They know it, we know it, and it's going to be a fun fight. We're going to see Lanham caught a little bit too far forward, roared down, the Blink's revealed. There's going to be an Ice Coil, though, and the Infest now gets 1 kill, make it 2. Freedom drops as well. Brax doing what he can from the woods. Blinked in. He will be spotted by the familiars. Ice taking a bit of damage. But just like that, Blink Dagger or not, the Beastmaster getting aggressive and trying to bring down the Rubik. Instead, they feed 3. And DK catches up in a hurry and make it 3-2.
Wow, Lon M surviving there. I don't know why he didn't have enough mana to axe him there. He had 90 mana when I checked his mana, but Blink Dagger 75 mana, 150 for Roar, so we're looking at 225. He should have been at max mana. He has 403. He had 2 bottle charges. If he had just bottled up right before he blinked and then just Blink Roar Axe, he would have died. And it might have not gone so poorly, but they didn't get anything out of that. They lost 3 heroes for absolutely nothing.
And DK just continues to make progress on the items on their heroes. The medallion is now done on Visage. That's going to be a nice way to allow that lifestealer a little bit more room to match up one-on-one against the Ursa. Ursa did pick up an Ogre Club, so will be a straight-up phase BKB as we suspected during the draft. But, I mean, we're 12 minutes in. Black is farming quite well. Make no mistake, sitting on top of the CS board, not just by a little, but by quite a lot. He's 20 ahead of his next, actually close to 25 ahead of his next closest competitor in pure CS, and that's a mid laner. So Ice, though, I mean, he's got 1,000 gold to go with his drums and his phase. He's not going to be quite as outclassed. Again, a lot of it's going to come down to how much this supporting cast can do. Can Misery hit his Gales? Can the Beastmaster hit a good target with his Roars? Is the Ensnare going to be there? Is the Song of the Siren going to be there? If so, this is still a game LGD is very much in. DK, though, has shown us just how good they are at picking apart such very narrowly defined lineups.
Rubik has been picked up in the middle by the Blink Roar from Pycast, so the second time is a charm for him. And Ursa, Black's playing it like an alchemist, though. He's just straight up farming for 13 minutes. He's 0-0-0, just straight farm all the time, which is not the hero's strength. So I think if they wanted to go for this sort of, hey, okay, we'll farm up with Tinker, we'll just get a few kills with the aggressive heroes that we have, but our carry's just going to sit back and farm all day, I think they could have gone with a Spectre, they could have gone with a Faceless Void, they could have gone with an Alchemist. There are many other better heroes for this particular role.
So far, we can see LGD unwilling to commit Black to much of anything.
Oh, there is an infest inside Mushi.
Mushi, a traveling courier for a big old can of pain. And no targets across the river as of right now. Black just about 100 gold short of his Mithril Hammer on his way to...
If they can counter-initiate with a Song of the Siren, they could potentially turn it around, but I think it's just going to be someone just instantly dying.
Oh, Burning just continues to farm away. He's got about 1,400 gold tucked away right now. He could go ahead and pick up treads if such was his wish. Just kind of doing his thing. And again, I feel like this is going to be one of the big difference-making heroes in this game. Can they buy him enough time to farm himself the items he wants? That Midas, again, came out at a decent clip. Came out at about 9 minutes. And we could see Mushi looking for a target, unable to do so. Looking to jaunt on top of someone, but LGD just continues to play back and play relatively safely.
I hear Ursa Bear doing his thing. There's a smoke come out from the infested Mushi as well as Lana, and they are looking for blood, rotating bottom. Their smoke was actually fairly close to popping. If the Venomancer had been maybe 2 seconds slower, it would have accidentally popped, and maybe he would have gotten killed. But looks like they are looking for somebody else. Is Black going to get picked off here?
Black is going to go ahead and pull back, so good game instincts, realizing something's not right. Not enough people.
They see him, though. They see him right now with Observer Ward.
Black will go ahead and cut north. Looks like they're just going to go ahead and sack this tower. Here's that push power of the Visage coming into play, melting that down pretty damn quickly. We're going to see a counter smoke out of LGD now, and they're going to find Burning. Never had a chance. Very wise move. Knew they couldn't defend the tower. Here's Mushi, though, still has a passenger. Maybe they're going to try to chase. They're going to rotate down. Black is finally hooked up and looks like he's ready for battle. Mushi.
They have.
Oh, there we go. There's going to be a coil out on Misery. There's the Song of the Siren, not nearly soon enough to save the Venomancer or to prevent the Infest. Now, though, Mushi tries to phase shift out. 2 down very, very quickly. LGD giving as good as they're getting. A little bit of damage. There's going to be an open wound out of Ice. Here come the Visage Familiars. And they are going to go ahead and stun out PyCap, but no follow-up. Check that. Ice thought about it. And instead, going to go ahead and bring down the board and take what little gold he can get. So a little bit of a win there for LGD.int. They maintain a kill lead, make it 5-4. And puck down for DK as they go ahead and decide to regroup near the Roche pit.
And no Vlad's up yet on Ursa, so I don't think that they can do Roshan. Can they contest this? That is a question. They're pretty good at static fighting and at Roshan defending if Song of the Siren is up, but they don't have Song of the Siren up. There is a Hawk kind of close to there, but it just went invis just outside of Roshan pit, so looks like it will not be a Roshan instead. Burning, so content to farm away. I'm surprised that he hasn't actually spent his gold. If he had spent his money right before he died, he could have been a little bit more efficient about it and got his Shadow Blade earlier. Mushi also, he died without spending his gold. He has picked up Power Treads, though.
We're going to see Ice opt to go ahead and grab an armlet up coming after those drums. BKB, though, very important item coming out for the Ursa Warrior. That's complete. Going to have 10 seconds of it just as he hits level 11 as well. DK going to go ahead and move on in to the Roche pit. And taking a look, no vision anywhere in the vicinity from LGD. 90 seconds until Song of the Siren back up against such an essential spell as you had mentioned. And trying to go against this composition. With that medallion on the Visage, though, Roche going to drop before I think they even really get a whiff of what's going on.
Yeah, no chance. And this is an item on the support. If they didn't have the medallion, then they couldn't have been able to do it that fast. Medallion just helps so much when trying to do Roshan. And Visage with medallion can actually solo kill a lot of heroes with those summon familiars. And LGD just chilling in mid. Let's check Brax's farm because we haven't really seen too much of him. He hasn't died yet, but he actually doesn't have his BOTs yet. I guess it's not going to be an awful timing. It's going to be around 17 minutes, 17, 18. He's just 20 gold away from it now. So not the worst thing in the world, but it's a little bit slow considering he hasn't died.
Just not seeing him really be the influence I think that he would want to be. I mean, at this point, he needs to be trying to stretch DK out a little bit. We'll see him finally picking those up, though, and ready to come back in. DK in a position to defend this tower if they want. Ice there with Landon. The Familiars doing their thing, trying to zone heroes out. Down at bottom, we can see Mushi's actually split pushing. He does still have the Aegis, so if they want to fight, he'll want to be a part of it. Tinker's marching the machines, keeping this creep wave pushed as far forward as possible, at least. Force Staff is going to be the selection on Burning, though, so playing kind of an old-school kind of Prophet. Usually, you see Prophets nowadays pretty much automatically go Shadow Blade, then a Scythe, or sometimes a Orchid Malevolence, but this time playing kind of the old school, getting the Force Staff.
I think that's actually really cool and unique build by him because it helps with the targeting from LGD. And if someone gets roared, just 4-7 away. Someone gets netted, 4-7 away. If someone gets caught by Ursa during BKB, 4-7 away. And it's actually a pretty good build, and he's looking out for his team because they just need to get past this phase and try and mitigate the damage from Ursa's BKB. Ursa's like probably at his strongest right now, unless he snowballs and gets a lot of kills. If they can kind of stymie the aggression from LGD as soon as they hit their big items, BKB on Ursa, the BOTs on Tinker, then they can definitely win this fight with the split push potential from Nature's Prophet, with the very strong ganking potential from the Infest Bombs, and they can just crush LGD like that. Slowly but surely.
Here we go. Black leading the charge, and there's going to be a coil. Only caught one, though. Only got Misery. BKB up on Black. There's the roar. Ice comes out and gets blown up. The ensnare was there, as was the laser. Mushi now the one in trouble. This is going to be an Aegis given away for free. One last little shot with the axe is enough to do it. And ready to pop back up. Does immediately blink away. So they only end up trading 1 for 1, but they lost Ice in exchange for a Venomancer. And really, you got to lay that on Puck's hands. Mushi just flat out whiffed on the coil.
Yeah, I'm also surprised that Ice didn't actually have his armlet activated when he came out of Infest, and he got roared without his armlet up. Maybe if he had that, he would have been able to live a little bit. But yes, the whiff coil was definitely not something that they planned on.
Brax trying to find his way back into relevancy. Now with his boots of travel up, we'll be able to bounce around and control the map much more effectively. That's something we just haven't seen out of Burning, really. He has kind of played the pub star prophet. He's just kind of chilling in the jungle, you know. He's too busy being cool to do stuff, but trying to play catch up some. And he's bounced around a little bit, don't get me wrong, but you're just not seeing a whole lot of activity out of him. You're not seeing a whole lot of real split push attempts. You're not seeing him really try to make things happen in small groups. Instead, DK just kind of holding on to things right now. And with that 4-staff pickup, though, one would think he would want to be a bit more active and involved in some of these fights.
Certainly. I think so, too. And he hasn't been farming like an absolute beast like he usually has been. It seems like he's been playing a little bit more passively than I've seen him play in the past.
Yep.
His net worth is about 1,100 behind Ursa.
Well, the Ursa really the only bright spot going right now for LGD, and that's kind of the tail of the tape when we look at the current gold graph. Just about 7,500 gold, the advantage for DK, even though Burning is so underfarmed by comparison of his own standards. 4,000 experience going the way of DK as well, which is surprising in its own right because they're currently trailing in kills. Granted, they're not trailing much, but they
really want this tower.
Yeah, right now they're just really. This is what I meant whenever I said you have to make things happen against DK, or they will grind you out. They're just flat out mechanically doing a better job, and Ice is going to be caught out and roared, blown up, and able to roar him back and secure the infest. Lana coming to his buddy's rescue. In the meantime, they re-engage. Black able to add at least one more kill to his total. Did cost him the Venomancer, but what a play out of Lanham on the Rubik. Managed to steal Roar right after it had happened. Managed to roar the Ursa and allow Ice to get away with very little health.
Yeah, that was great play by Lanham right there. The Ice would have certainly been dead if he hadn't been there to save him. Still, they lose the tower, and finally, after, I think, just sitting there for like 6 or 7 minutes, constantly throwing Vino wards on there, constantly marching out the wave, they finally get the tower. So that's actually very good for LGD. They need to try and do that so they can control Roshan a little bit better. Generally, the team with Ursa almost has Roshan secured, especially with as farm as Black is. But I think it was a big mistake being able to give DK that first Roshan.
Mushi under cover of smoke is making his way down to mid. He doesn't have a passenger. Burning, in the meantime, has completed his Shadow Blade, so doing a little bit of a hybrid build. I like this out of him. Getting that 4-staff up adds a little bit of survivability to his own repertoire. But as you mentioned, really does a lot to help his team. And oh, misery. This is sad times, I think, for him. As Mushi is going to go ahead and go back. Throws off the ult. He got all 3 of them. Misery will be silenced and cleaned up. Really not enough personnel from LGD anywhere near response range. So the ulti doing a bit of damage, but ultimately fruitless. Make it 7-7, 14 kill split right down the middle.
Blink up on Brax, able to put out a lot of pressure on Burning, and Burning isn't able to split push because Brax is just pushing out on the lanes that he wants to push out.
Shout out to Melk, 0-5, Venomancer, don't worry, buddy. Still only 1/4 of the way to the Melk award, but keep at it, kids. Keep up your dreams. You never want to give up. But
he's close.
Taking a look at the gold graph, still kind of hovering about where we thought it would be. I mean, when you look at the net worth, we're beginning to see Burning catch up. Black is right there on top of him. And the trouble, and this is kind of what I meant. I mean, outside of just the fact that having any hero in range of the Ursa is problematic, Nature's Prophet is one of those heroes who his natural build order, usually what you're going to build on him, items like Scythe of Ice, 4-staff, that naturally counters Ursa. You know, you build Scythe of Ice just for heroes like an Ursa. So as he catches up, the timing window through which this Ursa wants to crawl in order to be really effective is going to get smaller and smaller.
He can have some big plays with ground targeted Sprout, so you're unable to target Ursa while he's BKB'd with Sprout, but you can ground target right next to him and mitigate a lot of his damage if they don't have a really quick wild axe to cut the trees down. So I'll be looking for that play from Burning. See at mid. Pycat just gets completely picked off. And Freedom looks like he's in a lot of trouble too.
Yeah, Freedom just...
I don't really know what his plan was there.
He was planning to come in and sing to save his buddy, but he sung and then just kind of did the panic. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? That's literally what he did, just bouncing back and forth. When in danger or in doubt, run in circles, scream, and shout. He did, and he died. 7-9 as LGD gives up a couple of goofy ones there.
Goofy one indeed. I think that Song of Siren is like decent if they can set it up with like a double marching machines. DK can't really fight in that. But at the same time, Naga really hasn't seemed to be that useful this game, even to try and counter Infest Bombs. The hero is most likely still going to die, and even trying to use defensively right there. At the T1, 2 heroes died.
You can see DK continuing to kind of just flirt around mid, just buying, burning the time he wants. He's got 1,500 gold, though, continuing to make progress. I would be fairly shocked if a Scythe of Ice wasn't the next item he picked up. Speaking of items being picked up, MMY. 25-minute mechanism after medallion, really not too bad, and I'm really beginning to worry for LGD. I know Black likes to farm, but I feel like they need to be. They took the initiative in mid. We saw just how completely tunnel vision they were on that tier 1 mid, and they did get it. And they got a couple of kills in the process, but since then they've kind of just played back, and I feel like they're really just giving DK way too much time to catch up.
Yeah, if Tinker can get a sheep, then I think it's worth the wait, but he just bought his ultimate orb, so it's going to come much slower than Burning's. Looks like he just picked off.
Yep. It was a very good kill. There was a roar out of Pycat. That's what I was talking about. That's the kind of thing they need to be doing. Not just taking kills, but taking meaningful kills. Slowing down that Nature's Prophet and his development. In the meantime, though, DK is going to counter push here mid. Glyph has been used. No glyph available. LGD will be able to take the tier 1 top for free. And DK is going to go ahead and sell out on this Ice with the DD. Quite an imposing force. And Freedom still doesn't have his song up, so really unable to try and lock them down and wait on the cavalry, so to speak.
Pycat farming opponent jungle. He actually went for early boot to travel. I think that's actually pretty good because he can move around the map and get kills with Ursa, and that's exactly what they need to do. Get more kills, keep Ice down, keep Burning from getting his sheep, and I guess with that one recent kill on Burning, Brax may have his sheep earlier than Burning.
Ice working his way towards the Basher now, no surprise given he's up against the Ursa. But Burning, not deterred, is going to go ahead and loop around. He's going to spot Brax out here. Doesn't look like he's going to commit, but... Nah, never mind. He actually is going hunting for him. Unable to find him. Both teams beginning to play a bit passively, and all in all, it's been a relatively quiet game. Only 17 kills in 27 minutes. Take a look at the goal graph. We can see it has leveled off around that 5,000 mark. Roughly, it's basically been in this state for the last 10 minutes or so. It's just going to come down to who can put together a nice string of wins to decide who's going to really catapult ahead here in the mid-game.
Originally, I like the 4-step build on Burning, but since he hasn't been helping his team at all, and he's actually died, I don't really think it's that useful now. And it's kind of, it's kind of just a sitting item in his inventory now. After he replaces his Ring of Basilius, like he may be hard pressed for items in like if this game gets past like 38 to 40 minutes, and it's just going to be a sunken cost of 2,200 gold. And I'm surprised that he hasn't joined this team as much.
And we're going to see the roar on Ice. He infested out, trying to bait him out. Mushi was there with the coil, and Black will snap it through. Mushi in trouble again, but here comes the cavalry. MMY turning in the just meat. Ice has his armlet off. They're going to pursue him out, and caught out. Black, telekinesis as well. Big kill going the way of DK there. They managed to turn it around, and not only did they get 2 in exchange for 1, they got the 2 they could have wanted the most. Ursa and Tinker, both off the map for quite some time. Very important kills going the way of the Chinese.
And right as Roshan respawns too. So they can do Roshan, they have Lifestealer. Puck doesn't actually contribute that much to Roshan, but Lifestealer is just very, very low on HP right now, 500. But with the Medallion and with no towers really up on LGD that are good for contesting Roshan, they should be able to sneak it in pretty easily. Unfortunately, Naga Siren is still alive, but they have pretty good ward coverage too.
The Tinker's going to be back up right about now, still 20 seconds or so. until we see Black get back into the mix. Doesn't look like they're really that interested, though. I mean, I'm with you. With the Nature's Prophet on team as well, you would think that should have been a fairly easy Roshan attempt, and with the medallion, as you had mentioned. So, not the case, though. Continuing to play it just a little bit more cautiously. Ghost Scepter has been picked up on Misery, so as much as he wants to give shout-outs to Milk, looks like he does want to avoid the Milk Award if he can help it at all. We're coming up on 30 minutes, so as we come up on the 30-minute mark here, Merlini, give me a couple of pointers on both sides. Tell me what you think is going to be key here at this midpoint of the game for both teams to really get the most out of the compositions they've drafted based on the way the laning phase broke down into this mid-game phase.
I think they need to farm up Tinker on anything before they play super aggressively. They also need to get good picks with Pycat. They had a very good pickup on top on Burning, and they just need to find heroes that are alone. They don't necessarily want to like blink and engage on people that are like super far away. You don't want your Ursa and Beastmaster isolated from your team in a 5-on-5. But for the most part, they just need to find easy kills. Burning is out alone right now. Mushi sometimes is out alone too, but they just have to wait for a little bit, get the sheep up, and then they can actually just start chain hexing Lifestealer. First war him, after rages up, just sheep him, and then control the fight from there. Because no one really does that much damage aside from Ice. And if you're DK, what you want to do, avoid deaths, get your sheep up on Lifestealer, get your sheep up on Puck too. So it's all about a game of Scythes.
Yeah, Scythe of Ice really quite close now for Burning. We can see he's already got the ultimate orb up. And yeah, about 300 gold away at this point. He's got enough for the Mystic Staff, plus another 600 or so in his back pocket, so not far away at all. And that's going to make life very sad for Black. Makes it very hard, especially against heroes like Puck, who already have their own method of conveying that life still right on top. Speaking of the Ursa, though, he did go ahead and add a Basher to his inventory, and they're going to look to use it as quickly as they can. Smoke out, and they're going to go hunting.
Uh-oh. This is very, very bad for DK, I think. They might be caught unawares.
We're going to see him move in. Nope, they're going to go ahead and go into the Roche pit. Roche, not long for the world unless they do something about it. Doesn't look like they even have a clue what's going on. The Hawk is going to poke its nose up into the secret shop. Not see anything. Now they're going to hear it. And land him right there with him. Mushi is going to go ahead and throw it on in. Here we go. There's a Naga Sleep. Trying to slow him down. The Roche will be done by Black, buying just enough time. Freedom sacrificing himself for the greater good. Moves in. There's going to be a roar into the low ground. Burning cleaned up. Aegis is gone. He got the Aegis. Now we're going to see him re-engage. Misery's now in trouble. Burning back up, teleported in and got that Aegis. In the meantime, LGD now has to turn tail and run. Black making his way back towards his own tier 2, but here's the man. Snatched the Aegis and caught himself a bear. Black sent back to the well the hard way. And DK, in a situation that looked to have blown up in their face, got to the well late, or got to the Roche pit late. Nonetheless, one big play from Burning, snatching the Aegis and snatching one hell of a big fight win. 14-9, the goal graph down the lowest it's been the entire game. LGD reeling after that one.
Wow, that was just impressive play by DK. Being able to secure the Aegis and play like that against a Song of Siren is just incredible. So what happened was MNY actually resummoned his familiars to get another 2-second stun on the Ursa, and during that time, Burning 4-staffed across the cliff from here down to here, snatched the Aegis, denied Ursa Barret, and that was the biggest play in the game thus far. And I definitely think that the 4-staff paid off simply for that one big play by Burning. Highlight of the game right there.
Absolutely. Highlight of the evening so far.
Wow, Burning.
9-14. DK, and you know that has got to be so not just practically crippling in terms of what that cost LGD in terms of what they lost, but mentally. I mean, you were in a great position. They really played that about as well as they possibly could have. The Song of the Siren was beautifully timed, interrupted Puck's jump into the well, or into the pit, excuse me, and played it as well as they could. Just sometimes you can't account for a guy like Burning, and now he's going to take on a Passenger and look to try and make something happen elsewhere.
Yep, and that sheep was just so important. If they didn't have the sheep right there, if he didn't sheep him board a Song of Siren, he would just kill it, snatch the Aegis, and that's that. But with it being delayed, and then with him being able to resummon the Visage Familiars and just delay until the 7-second Song of the Siren is over, that was just amazing. Amazing time.
Oh, almost managing to pick off Brax. They knew where he was going to be and wanted to make it happen, just got there a little tardy to the party. and unable to interrupt his TP as he does manage to make it away. DK again leads this series 1-0. That's going to be a Scythe of Ice done on Brax as well. So the supporting cast on both teams. Bigger inventories again, though. The gold heading heavily in favor of the Chinese as they've now improved their lead to 5 digits. We're going to see DK moving through the jungle now, looking for some kind of a target. And looks like LGD very well aware of it, not going to give them that chance.
I think they need to prioritize Tinker now in fights. The longer he's in the fight, the more devastating it's going to be. You're going to see 2, 3, 4 heroes sheeped once he comes back into the fight. So I think they may need to switch tactics in fights to kiting Ursa with Ghost Scepters. I'm surprised Puck hasn't picked one up yet. He has actually picked up a Force Staff himself to help with kiting.
Burning going to be roared out. Force Staff is there. Burning will be able to make it. Nope, never mind. Thought he made it to the low ground. Not quite. Came very, very close, but unable to get that extra little oomph he needed. This should be another tower denied, and it will be.
If you had a Ghost Scepter, you can just Ghost Scepter and use your teleportation out because they don't have anything else after Roar. So I think they need Ghost Scepters up on the side of DK. It'll help immensely versus Ursa, as well as the Ensnare from Nagasarin.
Something else that's going to help quite a bit is going to be that Abyssal Blade. Ice, Ice, Ice. Less than 100 gold away from his relic. Now already has the Basher in his inventory. And again, just a lot of ways for them to try and deal with that Ursa if they want. But Scepter now out on the Beastmaster. Boots of Travel, Blink, and Scepter means he is going to be a force to be reckoned with for the entire rest of the game in terms of just being ready to bring fights to DK's doorstep. But
look at this illusion scouting from Freedom. 1, 2, 3. Just trying to get any information from DK so that they can set up a nice gank from a Blink Scythe Tinker or a Blink Scepter Roar from Beastmaster.
DK very well aware of it. Playing much further back. Just enough gold for the relic now on Ice, Ice, Ice. Mushi, in the meantime, working on a Scythe of his own, has the Mystic Staff up as well as his ultimate orb, so only needing about another 375 gold, and he'll be good to go. In the meantime, though, nice pickup on the Visage, grabbing a pipe, trying to negate any magic damage you're going to have to face, and there it is, the Abyssal. Now done on the Lifestealer, Mushi, with his Passenger ready to go, and at this point, really, I would be surprised. They have the Scythe up on Burning, they have his core items up with that Abyssal up, and one way for the Lifestealer to finally directly deal with that Ursa one-on-one. I would imagine they're going to be looking to set the tone for the rest of this game.
Mm-hmm. And even though the kill score is still pretty close at 14 and 10, DK has a huge gold lead, sitting at around 10,000. And next Roshan spawns about 5 minutes time. I think if DK gets that, they can probably close the game. They do have to be very careful of Tinker, though. When pushing a base versus Tinker is just extremely difficult. I think they just need to pick them off with just Infest or Shadow Blade, Scythe from Nature's Prophet. Either of those would be pretty good at picking off. They need to force the buyback from Tinker and then kill him one more time, and it should be a good game. We have to get the Roshan, but I'm getting way ahead of myself. It's still 5 minutes to go until then. Is LGD going to be able to find any kills, though? I don't know. DK has been pretty good about positioning and not getting picked up, aside from Burning. Burning, his net worth is eclipsing everybody else's at a whopping 17,600, but he's died quite a few times just getting picked off. Once right here, I believe, one time right here. So he could be more farmed.
The Puck has picked up his Scythe of Ice. This makes life very difficult for LGD. They just simply cannot afford to make positioning mistakes anymore. Scythe of Ice on the Nature's Prophet and on the Puck. So many ways to lock down the Ursa. They do have, of course, the answer in their own Tinker as well. And as well as that team, this Ursa All-Star team that really is just built to allow that bear to do what he wants to do. But really, when you look at things, he's sitting at 5-2. I mean, just given how aggressive we would have expected him to play, we're coming up on 40 minutes now, and it's a very, very low kill score game for that amount of time. 10-24, just 24 split between the two teams. 5-2-1, I mean, hell, Mushi's 5-3-8, 4-1 on Ice, Ice, Ice. So, I mean, DK at this point has managed to keep pace quite well, and that's really what their gold lead is owed to, as much as just being able to control the map a little bit more efficiently.
Yeah, I don't think that plays in LGD.int's favor that they didn't get that many kills. The fact that there's only 28 kills in a 38-minute game with this aggressive a lineup is not good. DK has way too many items, and Lifestealer with his Abyssal can actually shut down. Wow, they should probably just get blown up. But with Abyssal Blade up on Lifestealer now, he can actually shut down Black during his BKB, which is the big deal, considering his BKB is only 7 seconds up now. Ursa is actually pretty close to a Scythe of Ice of his own, so we may be looking at 4 Scythes of Ice in this game.
No real surprise. I mean, when you see a Lifesteal and Ursa go head-to-head, that item really is the most devastating item on both sides. And both teams really prioritizing it. I mean, Pycat obviously doesn't need one because he has something much more effective in Primal Roar. But this is one of those games that I think is going to come down to like 2 fights. It's going to come down to a Roche fight and probably some fight at a Tier 3 that's going to determine who's going to be able to win this. And we can see the smoke coming out of DK. Their Tier 2's being pushed. They're ready to try and get the jump on LGD. And they are going to go ahead and move their way up now. There's a ward that goes down. Sentry goes down. They're going to be spotted. And there's going to be the roar into Mushi. Ice, and it's out. Black's locked down and snares there, though. Mushi in trouble. He'll be cleaned up. Misery Ghost Scepter's away. Black laying into Ice. There's going to be the Earth Shock. Not nearly enough. He will be finally picked off from the backside. And Lanham now the next target. Caught with Riptide. Will be focused down with nothing but right clicks. That's 3 for 3 on both sides. The fight not done yet, though, is Burning. Gonna be next on the list, and the Visage Familiars using their stuns, buying just enough time, but Freedom a little bit too tanky at this stage of the game. Resummons the Familiars, and now they're doing the damage. Freedom gets off one more Riptide. The axes are there. MMY in trouble, will get the kill, but he'll probably trade himself. Pycat right there, and do they have enough? The Grave Chill slowed him down just a bit. Stun is there, but too late. Might have been able to make something happen, but the micro a little too intense. The lone man standing on the field is Pycat, a full team wipe for DK. LGD gets the tower and has one man still waiting around in the river. Well played from the international squad.
That was a very, very close fight. I think one of the key things that happened in that fight was that they didn't actually disable Ursa long enough. He was able to turn around and unleash his load on Lifestealer, and he got one bash off. So a netted Lifestealer was brought down from like 100% to like 15% in the matter of less than a second. And with Lifestealer out of the fight and him just buying Abyssal Blade so he doesn't have buyback was a huge factor in that fight. Of course, somebody's going to die that fast. Puck got focused down very, very early, but that's just the nature of the lineup when you have Roar, when you have 2 Sheeps, when you have an Ursa with a Blink. So I think that having one of those heroes down is acceptable, but losing both of those in that quick of time is just going to lead to very, very bad results in the team fight.
Mushi, under cover of smoke, going headhunting. Has a passenger and hoping he'll run into somebody. Has some Visage Familiars to help him out as well, but absolutely no one in the vicinity. Check that. We will have a Tinker in the vicinity, but that is going to be a Tinker who will happily Ghost Scepter himself over and over again. Make sure he stays safe. And they are going to catch him with a coil, though. Silence is there. Can they get the damage done? Brax finally will be cleaned up. They managed to track him down. Really didn't think it would matter if they caught him, but the coil went off, and DK able to get a very high priority kill. He's down for 60 seconds now. He does have buyback, though, if they absolutely have to have it. Doesn't look like it's going to matter, though, as DK not looking to take too much else other than just a free kill.
Yeah, he has a Ghost Scepter now, too. A very smart pickup. He always uses it when he rearms so that they're forced to blow a stun on him, whether it be Abyssal, whether it be Sheep. And if they kill Tinker, he can just buy back and TP back in the fight anyways, whether it's away from the creeps. He can still TP on Boots of Travel 4 or the Hawk, so not that bad. Unfortunately, they're going to get a Roach out of this, and Tinker, he's trying to buy back right now. Here it goes.
Brax has song ready. Roach at about a third.
Hawk.
Here we go. TP'd in off of the Hawk.
Oh, if they kill him right now, though, oh my goodness, if they spot him out.
Ooh, so close. Able to blink away. Just in the nick of time. Roche still quite low. We can see Brax beginning to spam a bit now, forcing them back. The Hawk's vision, allowing him the rocket spam, and those rockets to connect with their target. Black is down in the pit. An absolute mess right now as they try to figure out who's going to engage on who. We're going to see Misery caught out and blown up. Will they go in after this? Black got stunned. And now Song of the Siren. Ooh, MMY and Burning right on top of each other. Will he be able to get it? Pycat blinked up, managed to grab it that time. There's a coil that caught Black. They're going to re-engage off of it. Black gets some trouble. There's going to be the Roar locking down Ice, but the damage is there. BKB, too little, too late. And Rubik stole Song, turns it off. Not doing his team a whole lot of good. Freedom next on the list. Will be cleaned up as he made for the high ground. Brax now pops the Ghost Scepter. Do they have? Yes, they do. The Soul Assumption, the Telekinesis. And that's a double kill going to Burning. Make it 4-4-0. The man that had the Aegis did get away. It's the same guy that survived the last one, but this time doesn't have a full team wipe on the other side to show for it. DK takes a big one.
Wow, that pickoff on Tinker ended up costing them very, very heavily. Now that he doesn't have buyback for 50 seconds, I think it might be 2 T3s and possibly 2 sets of rags. Aegis on Beastmaster doesn't really matter. I think they should have given it to Ursa. Although he's kind of full up on items, I would have just sold the Blast to pick it up. But without Ursa in the fight, he doesn't have buyback either because he spent his money on Scythe. That was a very devastating fight. They put all their eggs in one basket and unable to secure the Roshan fight. They got the Roshan and the Aegis and the cheese, but the positioning was compromised as a result.
Misery is a little closer to his Melk Award as he's cleaned up, giving menacing looks to the group of bad guys assaulting his tier 3. Here comes Burning, TPing in. Pipe is popped and continuing to just plow through, overrunning it for lack of a better word. And we're actually going to see Freedom caught out again. Burning you showing off his Force Staff. And that's going to be another kill going his way. Now, though, Black wants revenge. We'll be able to clean up Mushi. Mech's there. There's the Abyssal use. Roar, though, on Ice. Buys time. Scythe the Vice out on both sides. Sprout caught, too. They're going to try to run, but Visage Familiars. Lock Black down, and Ice is there to clean up shop. Brax making for the well. Got a little tangled up, but will make it away just barely. Ice, the exact same story. Makes it back to the well. Burning, likely to die here. Pycat, nope, actually doesn't have axes, but moment imagine one more chop in the back will do it. They did manage to get the melee racks. In the meantime, the battle's still raging behind us. MMY going to be next on the list, trying to buy himself some time, but one well-placed laser from Brax makes him the latest on the casualty list. So DK, even though they paid a price for it, they nonetheless manage to get themselves a melee racks here in the bottom lane. Cheese still unspent by Brax as well.
Poor Ursa. keeps on dying over and over, unable to get his Abyssal Blade. He is still able to get some stuns on Lifesteal. Lifesteal was just kited so hard in that fight and didn't actually end up dying. Very surprised.
Yep, saved his rage, so he's ready to go. Looks like he'll be building an Assault Cuirass as he's picked up the plate mail. He's got about 1,600 towards his Hyperstone, if that's indeed the next part he wants to pick up. 27-19, take a look at the goal graph. Little sign of hope there for LGD momentarily, but as of right now, the lead as big as it's been all game and all in favor of Team DK. The experience still hovering around the lowest it's been, right around 14,000. So, Ursa, I mean, again, you don't want to call it over. It's just such a tough position for them to play from at this point. I do feel like they waited a little too long to get that Ursa active.
They can still turn things around with Tinker on Sheep. Tinker with Scythe of Vice can never be underestimated, especially with the amount of farm that he has with a Blink and a Ghost Scepter to support his repertoire of spells. The longer the fight drags out, and DK's like kind of running low on like gold/buybacks right now. Mushi's died lots and lots of times. He has a ultimate orb going for a Lincoln Sphere, I believe, so he stops getting Roar or Sheep. But it's just going to be a little bit too late. Tinker can just pop it off with his laser or whatever and just keep sheeping, or just sheep him and then rearm and sheep again. It doesn't really matter to him. So Mushi's most likely going to keep on dying. Lifestealer, he hasn't died that much, but he's still not as farmed as I would like him to be. He's still 4,000 net worth behind the Ursa. So, like, things are going... Oh, I hear a Song of the Siren. Oh, he's just using it right before it expires.
Yep. Just for funsies. Got it off, hoping he might find something. Not going to be the case, though. At any rate, we see LGD beginning to play a little bit more brave, moving into the dire side jungle now. There's going to be a Daedalus complete on Burning, so transitioning from what... I mean, when he first started, picking up the Force Staff, seemed like he might be going that old-school utility build on the Nature's Prophet. Instead, he's transitioned into what we're all much more used to seeing nowadays, the Shadow Blade, the right-click after Scythe. And really, at this point, he's a bit of a force to be reckoned with. He can deal some damage. He's going to be hitting... We're well in excess of 300 damage every time he hits a right-clicks coming out of Shadow Blade. He's going to be hitting for damn near 300 damage every time he right-clicks, period, to say nothing of crit. So at this point, coming up on 50 minutes, Merlini, give me a game plan on both sides. What's the general game plan as you look to end this game, no matter which team you're on?
Everyone's just looking for really quick picks off with Sheep.
Oh, they're going to find it.
Yep.
Brax, oh, there's a roar. Brax does get off the Ghost Scepter. Burning got lost in the woods. Can they turn it around? Burning will end up dropping. Big kill there. There's going to be the immediate buyback. Mushi got a two-man coil. That's Misery and Pycat. Ice trying to make his way around. Will be able to try to engage at least. Ghost Scepter's really causing some problems at this point. And there's the Telekinesis and the Abyssal both used. Pycat does end up dropping. Taking a look at the buyback. No buyback on either of those heroes. They're down for the count. And Burning ended up dropping, but having a little bit of gold stashed away certainly does pay for itself sometimes. And now ready to split push. Oh, never mind, not split push, just lead the way with this push. We saw just how much damage output he had there, but really nice turnaround from LGD. Just didn't quite pan out the way they'd hoped.
Yeah, I don't actually like Birding's build this game. He's still very vulnerable to single target focus. Black, oh, what a Song of the Siren.
Read him there, ready to sing is Baby Bear back to safety. They're going to re-engage. Mushi going to be blown up. Pipes there. We're going to see one gone immediately. Black, though, locked down. Good Sprout coming out from Burning. Ice going to be scythed on the back of it, but it doesn't matter. Buyback from Ursa. This is going to be their last stand. Naga Siren has picked up a Heaven's Halberd in the meantime. Very key item. If they can take Ice and his damage out of this hell, if they can take Burning out of this fight at this point. We're going to see Brax come in. There's the ulti, caught a couple. Freedom now, locked up front. Ice, going to engage onto the Ursa. There's a lot of illusions coming out. Brax, in the meantime, still relying on the Ghost Scepter. Visage Familiars get the stun off on Burning. Brax, next on the list. Can they blow him up? No! Ice. Unable to finish things up. Brax got on top of him and blew him up. MMY next on the list. The ensnare on the Lanham on the high ground. Up, doesn't matter, no stun. And managing to make it away. In the meantime, they got the tier 3, but they're on life support, but they're still breathing, Merlini. Both racks still standing.
Wow, that was an incredible fight right there. Good buyback for them. I think that they probably overextended a little bit considering they didn't have Abyssal up on the Lifestealer. He actually used it on the Beastmaster, and it's a very, very long cooldown, 60-second cooldown, and it wasn't up to lock down Ursa for a second time, which is a little bit unfortunate, and Ice just died in the process. He maybe should consider getting some more defensive items himself. He just constantly sheeped, roared, netted, sheeped again, Quillbore, slow. He is just getting kited non-stop, and we talked about how much anti-life stealer this lineup is, but I mean, even disregarding that, he's 6'3" and 13, so he hasn't actually died that much considering how many measures they have against him. So thanks, Roshan is up in 2 minutes time. I looking at the buybacks, like so many heroes have used buyback. Burning, no buyback for 3 minutes. Black, no buyback for 4 minutes, and a lot of the heroes just simply don't have enough gold for it.
Roshan back up in 2 minutes. Burning 4,400 gold in his inventory right now. Scepter now done on Visage, so adding to his stable of familiars. Such a tight game. We can see the gold, though, continues to be very heavily in favor of DK.
Oh, there's a smoke, though. If they can pick one of these heroes off without a buyback, it might be Ice that gets picked off right now.
He's got Infest. He's got Abyssal up. They actually turned left. Now they're going to re-engage. And there it is. Side device used up. They're going to try to fight it out. There's a Force Staff trying to get him a safety. Roar is spent. Lanham next on the list. There's Song of the Siren. 2 heroes right on top of each other. There's the buyback, though. And the Lifestealer. Now Roar, who was stolen by Lanham. They're going to get Black. Black in trouble, will be brought down. Lanham once again in a great coil to get 2 more on the back of the fight. Brax is there, and oh, Lanham, so sick. Force Staff Pycat to break the coil. The mini stun ended up interrupting his TP as they cleaned up the rest of the fight. Now all he can do is run for safety and not find it. Telekinesis back. The Visage Familiars are there. Ghost Scepter delaying the inevitable and not much else. Such an amazing turnaround coming out of DK. LGD had him dead to rights, and now they're not done. LGD gonna have Misery caught in the jungle. He ends up dropping again. Really closing in on the Milk Award now. That's 4 down, and in terms of buyback, no for Ursa. No buyback for Ursa. He is down for the count.
Wow, they just turned that around so fast. I don't even know if that Song of the Siren was that good. I think they had a sheeped Visage, and they could have focused him down, and they maybe could have killed up Rubik before his team responded, but he was able to steal Roar, cast it on Black, kill Black, and then you talked about his Force Staff play, but Mushi also had an excellent Dream Coil, catching 2 of those heroes out, including the really, really important Tinker.
There it is, the GG. And we see MMY gets another kill. Adding to it, Misery did call it, and down goes the Ancient. Much more hotly contested match this time between LGD and DK, but in the end, the result the same as it was in Game 1. DK notches a win and advances 2-0 over LGD International, improving their record to 1. And one of the more fun games that's actually a lie, because I've had a lot of downtime and haven't even casted that much since the International, so one of the more fun games I've casted in a while, but really break down where things kind of went wrong here for LGD and Merlini.
I think that they didn't play Ursa to his full potential. I think that they had like a pretty good strategy, but they just didn't like get a lot of kills early. They had the very early blink on the Beastmaster, but look at the items on DK. Even with Nature's Prophet dying a whopping 7 times, he still has Midas Scythe, Daedalus, Shadowblade, and they have Abyssal and Drums up on the Lifestealer and Armlet, which he should have been able to get those items. We see a Blink and a Scythe on Puck. They were just allowed way too much room, and if you have even farm on these heroes, then it's going to go in favor of DK, especially with their mobility with the Puck and the Nature's Prophet with the bombs. So I think that LGD, I think they played very well when they actually fought. They just didn't take it to them early enough. Let DK just farm up too much, didn't play to the strengths of their strategy. So all in all, that was a very, very fantastic game, though.
24-37, the final kill score, 53 minutes, 10 seconds. The official game time, and our second series of the night is in the books, folks. Thanks again for joining us. I'm your host here at AC Chambers here on the floor of our downtown San Francisco studio. Getting a little bit late here on the West Coast, and probably getting a little bit early if you happen to be in Europe. But what is more or less tantamount to a consolation match coming up for our third series of the evening. Going to be our 2 losers of the night. Vici taking on LGD International, as DK and LGD China both got wins in our first 2 series of the evening. So make sure you stick around. It's going to be kicking off at midnight Pacific Standard Time, 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. if you happen to be out in Europe. And yeah, something like 3 o'clock, pretty sure, something like that in China. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this initial broadcast of our D2L Season 4, brought to you by Kingston HyperX. Make sure you tell your friends, make sure you pick up the in-game ticket, but you know what? Just make sure you enjoy some Dota. We'll be back with our third and final series of the night coming up next.